Air fryers have quickly become a staple on kitchen countertops everywhere. But if you've ever wondered what makes an air fryer tick, you've come to the right place. Hi, I'm Alex from RTINGS.com, where we've not only tested 30 air fryers to figure out which ones perform the best, but we also tore some of them down to really understand what separates a great air fryer from a mediocre one. After all of our testing, we found that 3 key factors make the biggest difference in air fryer performance: basket size, power draw, and fan speed. We even went one step further and modified one of our top air fryers to see how each of these aspects impact its performance. Once you understand how these design elements interact, you'll be better equipped to find the best air fryer for your needs. Almost every basket-style air fryer shares the same core design, consisting of a basket, a heating element, and a fan. Baskets typically range in volume from 2 to 8 quarts, with a slide-out design that lets you shake the food while cooking for even results. The perforated tray inside allows hot air to circulate around the food. Above the basket, a resistive heating element, drawing between 800 and 1800 watts, generates the heat needed to cook the food. And finally, there's a radial fan. These typically spin at 2500 to 3600 RPM, though we've also tested models that spin as slow as 2070 RPM. The fan sits above the heating element to create high-speed, directed airflow that actively crisps the food. To do so, the fan pulls air up through the heating element and pushes it radially outward. The hot air then travels down the walls of the cooking chamber, circulates under the basket's false bottom, and rises back through the perforations to envelop the food. This airflow carries surface moisture upward, with most of the air recirculating and some venting out the back to remove steam. When optimized, this design creates intense and localized convective heat transfer, with the rapid removal of moisture from the food's surface area. The result? Crispy exteriors and juicy interiors. To test air fryer performance, we standardize as much as we can for consistent, repeatable, and comparable results. We use a 250-gram portion of hand-picked frozen French fries for every test. Our testers pick out the fries for each batch to ensure each specimen is of acceptable length, uniformity, and coloration. Because air fryer performance can vary with line voltage, something we also observed when testing toasters, we also standardize the supply voltage. We use a variable transformer and monitor the power to ensure each air fryer is supplied with a consistent 120 volts. Our cooking procedure is also standardized. First, we preheat the appliance to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and add our fry sample to the basket. Through our R&D efforts, we found that when cooked properly, frozen French fries are perfectly done once they've lost 45% of their moisture. So, we continuously log the sample's mass while it cooks to measure moisture loss over time. At 22.5% moisture loss, the midway point in the cooking process, we remove and shake the basket for 10 seconds to give each air fryer the best chance at producing evenly crispy fries. Finally, once the fries have lost 45% of their initial mass, we consider them cooked and remove them from the air fryer. After our sample fries have finished cooking, we then evaluate them in, you guessed it, a standardized evaluation process. Our testers get to play Goldilocks and manually sort each fry into 3 categories: undercooked, crispy, and overcooked. This is done using look and feel. Undercooked fries are those that bend instead of snapping, with a dense interior texture. Crispy fries snap with little force, crackle audibly, and have a fluffy interior. Overcooked fries break with moderate force, have a hard snap, and a dry interior. The fry distribution determines the air fryer's frying quality score. Air fryers like the Ninja Foodi DZ550 and the Cosori Turbo Blaze have a high percentage of perfectly crispy fries with minimal over and undercooked outliers. Others, like the Black & Decker, aren't so effective. But what separates the consistently crispy from the usually undercooked? After testing over 30 air fryers on our standardized test bench, we had a clear picture of what makes one air fryer perform better than the other. But we decided to actually put our findings to the test by experimenting on one of our best performers, the aforementioned Cosori Turbo Blaze. We systematically hobbled each of its 3 core design elements to see exactly how each one affects crispiness and cooking performance. We started with the basket. While the overall volume of an air fryer's basket is important to make sure you can cook enough food in one batch, it's even more important to get a basket with enough surface area. Our testing shows that the larger a basket's cooking surface, the higher the proportion of perfectly crispy fries it'll produce. That's because more surface area means more space to evenly spread out your food, which in turn allows for better airflow. When hot air can circulate more freely around each piece of food, it improves moisture removal and leads to better surface crisping and more even results. To really demonstrate this, we inserted a smaller, similarly shaped basket inside the TurboBlaze's 6-quart basket and secured it with heat-resistant tape. By doing this, we effectively reduced its surface area by 33%. As a result, the air fryer had a slightly shorter cook time by about 1 minute and 20 seconds. The reduced volume and more concentrated heat allowed the air fryer to recover to its 400-degree set point faster after adding in the frozen French fries. However, because the fries were piled on top of one another rather than spread out in an even layer, a disproportionate number of fries ended up overcooked and undercooked rather than perfectly crispy. By the time the batch as a whole reached the 45% moisture loss target, the fries on top had started to burn, while the fries buried underneath were still undercooked. That's why it's so important to make sure you can spread whatever you're cooking in an even layer, even if it means reducing the batch size. An overcrowded basket prevents the air fryer from functioning the way it was designed to. In the end, a large basket isn't just about cooking more food, it's the key to evenly crisping every bite. Beyond basket size, the heating element's power draw plays an important role in how effectively heat is transferred to the food through convection. Based on our aggregate review data, models with higher power draws consistently produce a higher percentage of crispy fries. To really hammer this home, we adjusted the output voltage on our variable transformer to reduce the TurboBlaze's power draw from 1600 watts to 900 watts. The lower power draw resulted in a much longer cooking time, about 50% longer, than at full power. The preheated air fryer took much longer to get back up to the 400-degree set point after adding the frozen fries to the basket. As a result, it took 10 extra minutes for the fries to reach the target 45% moisture loss. Since the cooking chamber spent so much time below 400 degrees, most of the fries couldn't crisp up, leaving us with a large portion of undercooked French fries. Meanwhile, the handful of fries sitting in the hottest airflow paths overcooked because of the longer cooking time. For crisp, evenly cooked fries, adequate heating element power is just as important as basket size. Finally, we modified the fan speed of our TurboBlaze. Fan speed impacts how effectively air can circulate through the basket, which also impacts the rate of convective heat transfer. For the best results, an air fryer's fan speed has to be properly matched to its heating element power and the volume of the cooking chamber. If the fan is too slow, the air isn't driven as intensely over the food and lingers longer in the cooking chamber, since less air is exhausted via the rear vent. This longer residence time leads to higher humidity. Naturally, the higher the humidity, the harder it is to get crispy results. On the flip side, if the fan spins too fast, air moves over the heating element too quickly to fully heat, and the short residence time keeps the cooking chamber below its ideal temperature. Because fan speed has to be optimized for each model, there's no simple correlation between the max fan speed we measured and the percentage of crispy fries an air fryer produced. However, to show the effect of airflow, we lowered our Cosori's fan speed from its optimal 3600 RPM to 2100 RPM by sending a shorter pulse width modulation signal to its DC motor controller. Interestingly, the slower fan only added about 1 more minute to the cooking time. However, it dramatically impacted the quality of the fries. A much larger percentage of fries were undercooked because the slower moving air stayed in the basket longer, allowing humidity to build up. Instead of quickly crisping, the fries were effectively steamed. So, what does this all mean if you're shopping for an air fryer? Well, after all our R&D and testing, our advice is simple. Look for an air fryer with the right combination of capacity, power, and airflow control. When figuring out capacity, it's best to choose an air fryer that's bigger than you think you'll need. The most important thing is to get a basket with a large surface area so you can spread food in a single layer. It may even be worth considering a family-size air fryer, like the dual basket Ninja Foodi DZ550, even if you usually just cook for 2. If you're only cooking for 1 or you have less available counter space, you can look at the design of the basket to ensure you pick a smaller capacity air fryer with as much surface area as possible. For example, both the Chefman TurboFry and the Ninja AF141 have an advertised 5-quart capacity, yet the Ninja has a notably larger surface area. Better yet, the Cosori TurboBlaze that we mutilated and then put back together, its countertop footprint is barely larger than the Ninja, but it has both a higher advertised capacity and a significantly larger surface area. Next, look for an air fryer rated at 1400 watts or more to ensure fast, effective convective heat transfer. A higher power draw means your air fryer can recover heat more quickly after adding food and reduces cooking times. This is so crucial that we just added a maximum power draw test to all of our air fryer reviews so you can see their measured power draw. You can also compare the power draw of different air fryers using our table tool. Although power draw is just one element that contributes to cooking performance, air fryers with lower power draws like the Think Kitchen Illuminate and the Chefman Turbo Fry tend to perform worse in our testing. Finally, air fryers perform best when they can match airflow to the cooking task. You need high speeds for air frying and lower speeds for baking or delicate items. Look for models with a wide range of fan speeds for the most versatility. The Turbo Blaze, for example, has one of the widest fan speed ranges we've tested, and its fan can spin at faster speeds than most, but a lot of Ninja models are up there too. While faster fan speeds tend to make for noisier appliances, it's ultimately worth the trade-off for higher quality food. Choosing an air fryer that nails all three of these factors will give you the best shot at getting crispy, evenly cooked food every time. If you want to learn more or see our top air fryer recommendations, you can find links to our R&D articles and best air fryer buying guide in the description below. Until next time, I'm Alex from RTINGS.com, where we help you find the best products for your needs. Bye. Meanwhile, the handful of fries sitting in the hottest airflow paths, airflow paths. Meanwhile, the handful of fries sitting in the hottest airflow, oh my God, sitting in the hottest airflow paths. Why is that so hard to say?